Christine, if you could please tell me how all of this came about. How did you find out about these sailors, and how did you put this fantastic project together?
Well, I found out about the sport of blind sailing from the Women's Olympic and the Paralympic head coach at an awards presentation, and all it took was just mentioning the two words blind sailing, and it just set me off on a journey, because I knew that I needed to find out more about it and then understand what drove these people to do it and how they managed to do it, because it just seemed counterintuitive to me.
And Mark, you've had Matt. Sorry. You've had we've had lots of Marks at the film festival.
Lots of what?
We've had.
Oh yeah. Yes.
You've had a long experience in sailing. So what did you feel when you heard that they wanted to make a movie about you sailing with this?
No problem.
No problem.
I really thought it was an important thing to do, because personally, I have a passion for the sport, and I think the story needed to be told. Because the other reason for that is that you know, even in this modern era, folks with disabilities, particularly those who are blind or visually impaired, are viewed as incapable of doing anything. That's why the unemployment rate is upwards of 75% in this country, and that's not acceptable. And by showing that we can do, quote, normal, unquote, sports, can send a very powerful message. Oh, these guys are team players. They know what they're doing. They know they can work with sighted people. We can't be always good, just that you know, a lot of it's not a question of legislation and technology. It's a question of attitude. And we wanted to, you know, I felt that in my own little way, based on what I do as a sailor, I had the potential to change some attitudes. Never mind the fact that sailing's a hell of a lot of fun.
Was it
minor detail? Was
it different for you to sail knowing that this was going to be made into a film? Were you nervous? Were you excited? Were you?
Well, initially it's like, oh my goodness, the camera's following me around. You know, you sort of felt this presence, and after a while, Christine became part of who we are as a group, and has become a very good friend, and you know, as a result, after a while, it's like, oh, okay, they're doing the video, okay, fine, get on with the business. We got sailing to do, we got practice to do. She's actually filmed some of my practice sessions where we do some wild and crazy things. I mean, we try to look at mark roundings and see how close we can get without hitting them, especially when they're government marks and they're made of concrete. You hit one, you get a chip to clear code, which is bad, because yours truly has to pay for it. But when you do a good rounding, we train like we race, and we race like we train. And so when you get to race day, it's just another extended practice.
And Matt was very good, and all the sailors were about wearing cameras at times when it was safe to do so, so that we could really get some point of view filming, because I knew I wanted to have some effects created to evoke the different kinds of vision that two of the sailors had, and so it meant them wearing cameras on board. So they were very cooperative.
So as a filmmaker, what were the major difficulties in shooting at sea? Because of course you had to have this team with the sailors collaborating with you, and obviously, you know, it was an unconventional...
I think the biggest challenge was recording sound because of the wind, and that's something you hear and you really can't control it no matter what kind of wind muff you put on your mic. If you've got a 25-mile-an-hour gust of wind, you're going to get static. So that was something you just have to live with. Once I found out, you know, and found the person who had created these self-leveling mounts to have onboard action, and the skill set and the specialized equipment to really get the amazing cinematography on the water, then I was in good hands.
Would you like to add something about the...
Well, it was interesting because she talks about the SEF mounts, and they were GoPros in a case, and I think a challenge technically for them was the way that they would fog up too. So, and then being sure to make the racing look like racing. There were so many different camera angles, but you had to pick the right shot, but also make sure that you were still going in the right direction. So we knew that the audience was going to be primarily sailors, but also blind people, and so since they would know what sailing looked like, we had to make sure that it was very true to being on the water. So.
And that's where it was important to have an editor who was a sailor and who really understood that, because there was times where I said, well, what about this shot? I really like this shot. She says, nope, they're going upwind and that won't fit because they're racing downwind. Okay. So that's something that I don't have that knowledge base, and I really trusted Cheree because she had that experience.
Well, the wind is coming up a lot in our conversation, and of course it's the protagonist of the title and of this wonderful storytelling. I would want to know from the three of you if in a way this is also an ode and a trigger to discover the other senses we have that sometimes, tend to get neglected, especially something so primary as touch, to feel the wind on our body, because we are living in a rather visual and world with all this digital thing, but somehow your movie is almost, trying to get back to the essential sense.
Matt told me he could tell that the tide is changing by the sound, how it hits the hull of the boat. I mean, so there's just a lot of clues, but I think, sighted sailors also, really understand that, and the Olympic coach, the Paralympic coach, and other college coaches sometimes blindfold their sailors during practice so that they communicate better, and that they do really feel the boat and feel, the wind.
In fact, Buddy Malgus, who's one of the top sailors and some boat designers in the world, has talked about seat of the pants sailing, which means you're feeling your butt as well as everything else. And sailing is not just a one-dimensional thing. It's integration of all the senses. Vision is nice, but if you don't have it, you have to maximize what's left. And also there's a lot of gut instinct that goes into it, because when you've been racing long enough and you are familiar with a particular class of boat, you sort of know that certain things are going to happen under certain conditions, and you anticipate those things.
Would you like to add something about the wind and
I think
rediscovering?
The wind also is sort of representative of their desire for freedom and finding freedom in any way that could happen for them. So I think all of the characters talk about this, and perhaps maybe that's a love for sailing comes in, because like Nancy, one of the characters said, you can sort of be driving again, and it just came out to be a very beautiful way that they were able to communicate that.
So what has it been for you to present the film here at the Socially Relevant Film Festival?
It's really exciting, to be in this context, and we had a large group of Achilles, they're disabled runners, and blind athletes that were here enjoying the film, and that was really important to me, to really engage not only the sighted sailors, but the blindness community and people that just have a social consciousness, and it's all part of spreading awareness and getting and really spreading the message of empowerment to everyone.
Okay. Would you like to add something else?
I can't think of anything.
Okay. Well, thank you so
thank
much.
you.
Thank
Your
you.
film is wonderful.
Okay, thank you.